Hello again, everyone. Another message from a PayPal contributor. Remember, if you make a contribution of any amount to the PayPal link in the description box below, and you want your story made into a video, you go right to the top of the list. Hi, Ollie. Been watching your videos for over a year now. I post on YouTube as Sunshine Lady, but I post on Facebook as Raven Black. I just wanted to mention that so there would be no confusion about who I am. I've made some contributions recently and will continue to do so, as I believe what you do is really important and helpful. In the meantime, I wanted to get this story written because something happened today and I would appreciate your feedback and guidance. It's a bit long. Apologies for that. It's late and my anxiety has been triggered. I believe I know already what I need to do, but as a recovering enabler and victim of narcissistic abuse, I often don't follow my own instincts or trust my own judgment. Anyway, here's some background on the situation, and then I'll get to what happened today. I'm recently divorced, bought a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhouse in August 2015 that I now share with a roommate. The roommate is a friend I met about a year ago when I first separated from my ex. She is divorced as well and has battled with health issues and gaps in employment in recent years. The goal of moving in together was to help each other out financially, as divorce often causes financial damage, and it's easier to repair that damage when people work as a team instead of going at it alone. I offered her a very fair price, $700 for rent and about 500 less than she was paying for a studio apartment on the bus line. I live in the Northeast, so housing is expensive here. She has a private bedroom and bathroom, tons of storage, and the development is in a good and quiet neighborhood. I waived rent for the first week since we moved before the first of the month. I waived last month's rent, waived the security deposit, and the term is month to month, so no long-term commitment. The only challenge to the situation is that she was previously living on the bus line and I live in the suburbs, so it's necessary to have a car when you live out here. I told her she could use my car to get to work for local travel for the first 6 months while she works to pay down debt, so she can later afford a car of her own or move back to the city where the rent is higher and she could go back to using public transit. All I asked is that she pay for the gas and pay for her share of the car insurance, since I had to add her to my insurance policy and my costs went up. To make a long story short, I gave her the monthly amount that she will need to be paying in December, and she freaked out because it was $30 more than I quoted her back in August when I first started talking about how this was going to work. I won't get into the details, but the math works out and it's still way cheaper than if she had to go and get her own car and insurance policy. I told her I'm sensitive to her financial problems and I could work with her in the short term as long as she catches up in the spring. She went into this whole speech about how she doesn't like taking favors from people because there are always strings attached, and then she accused me of not communicating and not being honest with her. Strings? What strings? I haven't asked her for anything unreasonable, and I haven't made any threats against her. I just want her to pay for what's costing me for her to be on my insurance policy. What the fuck? I told her the miscalculation over the insurance premium was an honest mistake, as I forgot that the insurance company was going to simply roll the premium charges for the past 3 months she's been on my insurance into the next renewal term, which begins in December and ends in August. Keep in mind, she's been driving my car since September and hasn't paid anything for car insurance, so I'm not sure why this is such a shock to her. Did she think I would just pay it, or that there would somehow wouldn't be any cost to her for insurance? Yes. Yeah. If somebody's a narcissist, they'll say, and they're in a bad spot, they'll say anything they need to in order to get what they want for the time being. And then when it comes time to pay up, like here, that's when all the problems arise, and now there's strings attached. And no, it's completely reasonable. I mean, I'm sure you could just show her the insurance bill of what it's costing you. You don't set the rates, they do. So it doesn't make any sense. And anybody who's dealt with an insurance company knows they can quote you one thing, it gets confusing, and $30 difference shouldn't be anything, to get all up in arms about. By the way, she's flying out west this week to hook up with a friend. So apparently she can afford airfare, hotel, and a rental car, but not $30 extra for car insurance. Yes, that's how narcissists work. It's for them. You're taking care of the car and the insurance, and in her mind, she just thinks you should pay for it because she's entitled to go out to hook up with a friend on the West Coast whenever she feels like it. That's how it works. And then she's going to act like you got strings attached to what you're doing for her, and that's complete bullshit. But I digress. While we were discussing it, she was getting very heated about it. Like I said, chastising me for not being honest or communicating about how other people have burned her in the past. Well, you're not other people. How are you burning her over $30 on an insurance bill that she can clearly see? She can clearly see what the insurance bill is. So what would be the benefit of lying to her about $30 extra a month on a premium? It doesn't even make sense. It's irrational. She went on and on about how she has her budget figured out down to the penny, and that I should have told her about this back in August. I pushed back and told her the $65 a month quote the $65 a month she was quoted in August was an estimate based on 12 months, not 9 months. So the $95 a month for 9 months makes total sense when you do the math. Right. So you quoted her over 12 months instead of a 6 month policy, and insurance cards change every 6 months. Obviously, I wasn't clear enough about the insurance cost, but it's not like she ever asked me about how she should pay for insurance for September, October, November. So I believe the mistake is mutual. Yeah, it is. I asked her to cut me some slack since back in August when we were discussing all this. I was going through divorce court, selling my house, purchasing the townhouse, fixing it up, getting it ready for occupation, planning a move, working a full-time job, and battling illness. I was overextended at the time and didn't have the mental or physical energy to examine everything with a fine-tooth comb and calculate every expense down to the penny. Then she went on to tell me how upset she was last week when I told her that I am expecting a bill from the town for water and sewer use for the fourth quarter. I told her that was noted in the rental contract we both signed, and we would be splitting that bill 50-50 since it's based on usage, and I couldn't give her a dollar amount per month for budgeting purposes. Right, it's a utility, so you don't know exactly what you're going to spend, especially when you're moving into a new place. Same goes for the gas and electric. She's flipping out over $30 now for a car insurance for a car she drives every day for free that I'm paying $288 a month for. I'm afraid to think what will happen in January when I get a $200 gas bill for the heat and need to ask her for $100. At one point during the argument, she told me she could have moved somewhere else, but moved here because of the arrangement we have, and that springing unexpected increases on her like this makes her think she may have made a mistake in trusting me. Well, wait a minute, this is an adult. So she doesn't know how utility bills work. She doesn't know how living expenses work. She's putting it all on you to figure out her every freaking expense down to a penny. This is a grown woman. And she's acting like she's never lived anywhere before, never paid a utility bill, doesn't know how car insurance works, doesn't know how car payments work. And that's just absurd. Like, are you a child? Does she take responsibility for anything in her life? Probably not. Then she said something like, people are always doing stuff to get in the way of her achieving her goals, and that springing unexpected costs on her will get in the way of her goals, etc. Again, blaming me. Like I said before, I'm not insensitive to someone being with a tight budget, but it's been my experience that no one can budget down to the penny, and nobody can. So how does going out to the West Coast to hook up with a friend help her goals? Sounds like it's more interfering with her social life than interfering with her goals. But to most narcissists, their goals are their social life. So they're one and the same, even though in reality, if your goals professionally, or it should be your goals professionally, and your social life should come after that. Not with narcissists. Their social life comes first. Their social life are their goals in life. Most people need some wiggle room in their budget for unexpected expenses or for bills that they have variable amounts that can't be calculated in advance. It's called living below your means. Easier said than done, I know, and especially difficult after divorce. But this is why I chose to have a roommate in the first place, so I would have extra money and budget, and my budget wouldn't be too tight, and so I don't need to worry about it if I have $30 or not. Hope doesn't sound like I'm judging or being condescending or selfish. I just know that life is expensive and we all have to do what we have to do to make ends meet. And it's not anyone else's fault if we didn't plan ahead or save for a rainy day. Am I being a jerk here? No, you're absolutely right. That was the point I was making. And again, rainy day planning doesn't include flying to the West Coast, which is goddamn expensive, to hook up with a friend. Again, her social priorities trump everything else, trump responsibilities and your responsibilities. It would be like if she accused the supermarket of sabotaging her goals because the price of milk went up $4 a gallon to $5 a gallon and it wasn't in her budget. You know what? Costs go up, usually unexpectedly. That's life. We make adjustments and we move on. What has me upset was the way she reacted to the situation. I think it was an overreaction, especially since I was clear that I could be flexible about when she pays, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal as long as she gets caught up eventually. Right, and her problem isn't with the bills. I mean, I think what she was trying to do was avoid you from calling her out from going to hook up with a friend when she hasn't really been paying anything towards the utilities, the car, or the insurance. And now that it's time to pay the piper, and she realized I'm going off on this social expenditure, okay, gotta waste money on that, when I really should be giving you money for the bills and taking care of my so-called goals. But again, their social goals and their professional goals are exactly the same. I was always told as a kid not to look a gift horse in the mouth and not to nickel and dime people, especially when they were doing you a favor. Right, but that's not how it works for narcissists, because they don't see it as a favor, they see it as entitlement. They don't understand what a favor is, they just see it as you owe me this because I'm me. I made it clear to her when we moved in that above all else, I need calm, relaxed, and peaceful environment. I just escaped a decade of abuse from my ex who would overreact to small problems, blame me for everything, and make threats against me. You were right, Ollie. We do attract these people, don't we? Yeah, we do. The last thing I need is someone causing me stress over $30 a month. Like I said before, my issue has nothing to do with money. It's the way she reacted to what I believe is a mutual mistake. Misunderstanding and very solvable problem. If she had said to me, thanks for letting me know, but I'm afraid I won't have the full amount. Can we work something out in the short term? And I promise to get caught up as soon as I can, I would have been perfectly okay with that response. But that isn't what happened. Oh, and then halfway through all this, she's like, yeah, I have PMS right now. Seriously, I'm a woman. I get it. Still, I don't think that's an excuse for flipping out at me when she knows that sort of reaction triggers my anxiety. Well, that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to trigger your anxiety to throw you off and back you off. Then there was some more back and forth about how she claims that back in August she offered to contribute towards my car payment, but that I refused her offer. Not exactly what happened. I said it wasn't necessary in the short term as I'm trying to be a good friend and get her ahead financially, but that in the spring we could revisit whether she could afford her own car, and if not, then I would want her to start contributing towards my car payment, since she is using it almost every day. I didn't mention it at the time of the argument, but I seem to remember her saying back in August that she would split the cost of the move with me. But then I never got anything from her and ended up paying the whole cost myself. I didn't say anything about that, but now I wish I had. At the time, all I was thinking about was trying to diffuse the situation and not let her bait me into an argument, since I know from your videos that you can't win an argument with a narc. Right, you can't win an argument from a narc with a narc. However, you should have at least called this out. I understand why you didn't, because what she did here, okay, is use your anxiety against you to back you off, because she knows you want calm, you know she needs to be relaxed, she knows you went through 10 years of bullshit with your ex, okay? And by her doing those little attacks that she did, it basically shuts you down from calling her out on the entire situation. You understand? It's very manipulative what she's doing, and it's all for her benefit. Yet she's still going out to the West Coast to go party with a friend. Did I mention she was a week late with the rent this month? I said nothing about that, but she chased me relentlessly for $50 for the Comcast TV internet bill. Right, because that's something she cares about. See, she's already making the assumption you're not just going to kick her out, okay? So she's got the roof over her head, but now she wants her TV and internet as well, because that's what she cares about. Like, she cares about going to the West Coast. She only cares about her entertainment and her needs, and that's what the internet bill's about. I'm all about picking battles and letting small stuff go, because life is short and I just want to be happy. I don't want to be in constant conflict over minor stuff, and especially not over money. I'm dissecting the conversation. What I heard was gaslighting, blaming, guilt, and threats. Now I really wish I had done a contract for the car as well as the townhouse. I should have known better. This is part of the story where I start to blame myself. Did I bring this on myself? I believe the answer is yes. Just as she claims that taking favors bites you in the ass because there are always strings attached. I know that giving favors bites you in the ass because people take advantage and squeeze you for every nickel. You see, here's what this woman has done. She's confusing favors with responsibility and agreements. You know, you're doing her a favor by extending her some extra time and working with her, but you're extending her a favor on a responsibility that she's due to pay. That's what it is. She's confusing responsibilities with doing somebody a favor and a contract and agreements that you're making. This woman wants to take responsibility for nothing in her life. She views everything as a favor and not a responsibility. She's only concerned with her own well-being and her own entertainment. So no, you're not overreacting. There's so much more to the story, but this message is long enough. Of course, now I need to figure out what to do. This situation is exactly what I was afraid of. I don't feel I deserve to be treated this way over a simple mistake, especially since I was being very reasonable about the situation. I know if I let this go, I can expect more of the same from her in the future. She says she appreciates what I'm doing for her, but then flips out over $30 a month. Like you said, when the words don't match the actions are the truth, not the words. So I do let it go. So do I let it go, or should I do something about this? I feel like if I tell her this isn't working out and she needs to move out, then I'm being a jerk, because that decision would really make her situation a lot worse than mine. In her mind, she'll just be another person. I'll just be another person who screwed her. I'll take a hit with my financial goals in the short term, but I can't make ends meet on my own. I'm sure I can find another roommate, as my property is desirable and I'm asking for less than market rate for the rent. It's frustrating because I have this guilt. I told her I would help her. I made a mistake with the car insurance, but I don't feel I should be attacked over it. The whole incident has triggered me, and I feel like I'm right back to where I was with my ex. being attacked for being human. It took a lot for me to get away from him and his abuse, and I just can't get into another abusive situation no matter how it hurts financially. I think I need to consider asking her to move out when she gets back from her trip next week. I hate to do that, but I will feel guilty and feel like a jerk. But I know I can't allow anyone to treat me with that much disrespect. What are your thoughts, Ollie? Am I the one now overreacting? Should I let it go? Should I forgive and forget all that, or or have I set myself up to be a doormat again to someone who's only concerned about their own needs and can care less about mine? I know that was long. Thanks for reading. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this. Well, you said it, and I kind of said it already. Yeah, that's exactly what she's doing. She's setting you up to be a doormat. She's already grooming you with the money and the problems, and she's already shown you in several different ways that she's only concerned with her own entertainment and her own well-being. Okay, she views everything in her life as a favor, not as a responsibility, and she wants to take responsibility for nothing in her life, for nothing. So my suggestion to you is I don't understand how she can look herself in the mirror and then go on a trip knowing that she owes you money and all these problems. And if kicking her out is going to cause all these problems, well, what did it cost her to fly out to the West Coast? The reason I think she has so many financial problems is she makes bad decisions because she's only concerned with herself and not responsibility. And probably there's always been somebody in her life to bail her out. And those are the people she's telling you are abusing her, that there's always strings attached. There's a difference between favors and responsibilities. And living expenses is a responsibility. It's a responsibility for everybody. So no, you're not overreacting. You're not, being cruel or mean to her, but she's showing obvious signs that she's nothing more than a user. And probably the reason she's in the lot in life she's in is because of decisions like this she makes and how she's treated when she's asked to pay for her responsibilities that she agreed to pay for. Then everything's got strings attached and everybody's a phony and so on and so forth. And that's not the case here. You may feel like a jerk kicking her out, but what's your alternative? To deal with another couple of years of what you just got out of with your ex-husband? She's already showing you that she's, going to abuse you, and she's already shut you down by basically intimidating you because you want peace and relaxation in your own house. So you didn't call her on everything she's done and everything that's been going on. So you're already making yourself into a doormat. You need to end this right freaking now. Right freaking now. And if she hasn't gone yet, I wouldn't threaten her and say, if you go on that trip, you can't come back, or, you're going to have to. But you should say to her, look, you have responsibilities here that you agreed to. Okay, you have these financial issues. Why are you going on this trip? And she's probably going to give you this whole guilt trippy sob story of why she should go and she never gets to do it. But that's not your reality. And then that's not your reality right now. You can't afford to do it right now. And, if she can then does it, me personally, I would be like, there's the door, and I would find another roommate. Place sounds awesome, to be honest with you. Congratulations on your townhouse and getting everything up and running, and for what you've charging her to live there. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's a great deal. And now she's griping over $30 a month, and you're worried already about the gas bill, which is her intent, is to get you to not challenge her on anything and basically pay as much shit for her as she can possibly get out of you. She's a user. She's a manipulative user. And if it were me, I'd be like, hit the bricks. So, hope that helps. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for the story. I appreciate it. Anybody else who has any opinions, any words of advice, please leave them in the comment threads below. And again, if you enjoyed this channel, please consider making a contribution to the PayPal link in the description box below. And remember, a contribution of any amount. If you want your story made into a video, you go right to the top of the list. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye.